Welcome to the Writing Center at PVCC. Today, we're going to talk about citing your sources in the text of your essay using MLA citation style. So why should you cite your sources in the body of your essay? Why is a Works Cited page not enough to cite your sources? Citing your sources in the text signals to the reader which specific information comes from another source and is not your own. It is a way of giving credit to the person who wrote the words, conducted the study, or originated the idea. In addition, even though you have a Works Cited page, citing the source in the text lets the reader know from which source the information came, rather than expecting the reader to muddle through your list of sources to find the specific source. In-text citations refer readers to your Works Cited page where they can find more information, like the name of the publisher or the web address for the article. Finally, in-text citations tell the reader exactly where to find the information, including the page number on which it was found, if the reader wishes to research the subject on their own. There are two main components of an in-text citation, the signal phrase and the parenthetical reference. The signal phrase introduces the information taken from a source. It often includes the author's last name. Signal phrases are used for quotations, summaries, paraphrases, and facts. The parenthetical reference comes after the cited material, such as a quote or paraphrase. It may include the author's last name or the title of the work, but we'll talk more about that later. The parenthetical citation usually includes a page number. Use your Works Cited page as you create your in-text citations. It can be helpful to create your Works Cited page as you gather sources, so you can use it to cite your sources as you write your essay. Whatever the case, your in-text citation must reference whatever comes first in the Works Cited entry. For example, if you were quoting from the first article on this list, the one about postmodernism in Hong Kong cinema, you should use Chan in your in-text citation because that is what is listed first in the Works Cited entry. If you were quoting from the movie, the last example on the list, you should use Ripley's Game in your in-text citation. This allows the reader to easily reference your Works Cited page to find all the information about your source. To learn more about creating a Works Cited page, see our Creating a Works Cited Page video about the core elements of MLA 8. Usually, you should introduce the author of the work in a signal phrase, like according to Readling or Readling argues. This lets the reader know that the information or quote that is coming next is not original to you. It also allows you to keep the parenthetical citation brief. If the source has two authors, give the last names of both authors in the signal phrase. Note that direct quotes are placed in quotation marks. The end quote mark, but not the period, is given before the parenthetical citation. Because the author is named in the signal phrase, all that is needed in the parenthetical citation is the page number. There is no need to write the word page, just put the number in the parentheses. Place the period after the end parentheses. If you do not give the author's name in the signal phrase, put the last name in parentheses with the page number. If the source has three or more authors, use the last name of the first author listed in the source, then et al. Et al is an abbreviation of a Latin phrase meaning and others. Note that the author's last name is first, then the page number. There is no punctuation between the name and the page number. Again, note that the period goes after the end parentheses. If an author is not named, you will use whatever comes first in your Works Cited entry in your in-text citation. This is usually the title of the web page or article. In this example, no author was given for the article, so its title, Healthy Weight, is given in the parenthetical citation because the title is what comes first in the Works Cited entry. Note that the title of the web page, Healthy Weight, is placed in quotation marks in the parentheses. Because this is a web page, there are no page numbers in the citation. As noted before, the period is placed after the parenthetical citation. In addition to the author's last name, citations include the page number on which the information was found. This allows readers to easily find the original information. The page number is always placed in the parenthetical citation, not in the text itself, even if the author's name is given in the signal phrase. If you find an article in an online database that was originally published in a journal, it will have page numbers. Because of this, it can be helpful to read the PDF version of the article rather than the HTML version. Use the PDF to find the number of the page on which the information was found. Sometimes you may cite from web pages that do not have page numbers. In this case, page numbers are not needed. The parenthetical citation should be placed at the end of the sentence that gives the information, whether paraphrase or quote, from a source. Place the citation before the period at the end of the sentence. Sometimes, when using information from a source, it can be tempting to fill a paragraph with information from the source without adding any analysis, and then place the parenthetical citation at the end of the paragraph in an attempt to cite all the information given in the paragraph. This makes it difficult for the reader to tell when the source's ideas begin and end, and if the essay's author has inserted their own ideas. In the example shown, the quote from Tannen is given in the middle of the paragraph. Then the quote is explained and the citation is placed after the explanation. This creates some confusion as to which ideas belong to the source and which are the paragraph author's ideas or explanations. Instead, the citation should be placed immediately after the source information or quote and before the end period. This connects the citation to the information, idea, or quote in the sentence and allows the essay's author to follow the information with analysis or explanation. To learn more about explaining and analyzing the source information, see the Writing Center handout or video about using a quote sandwich. If a quotation of prose is more than 4 lines long, set it off from your text by indenting it 1 inch. Double space the lines and do not use quotation marks. Include the citation in the parentheses at the end of the quotation. Unlike shorter quotes, the period is given before the parenthetical citation. This indicates to readers that all of the indented text is from the source. Be aware that if you use long quotes, every part of it must be important. On the next slide, we'll talk about how to shorten a quote to remove material that may not be necessary to make your point. But as a rule of thumb, the longer the quote, the longer your discussion and analysis of the quote should be. If a quote is long, it is often helpful to use ellipses to shorten it and remove unnecessary material. In the example, there were unnecessary words between the words past and the misery. Those words were replaced with an ellipses. Shortening quotes allows you to focus on key elements of the quote without distracting the reader with extraneous information. When shortening quotes, be sure the new sentence makes grammatical sense and does not distort the original idea of the quote. If you would like to see a tutor about citing your sources in your text, call, email, or visit the Writing Center in room M617.